Welcome everyone to the Personal Training Institute podcast. Today we are joined by the awesome Zoe Knight, who is one half of Muscle Nerds and gym called the Institute of Physical Culture over in Australia. So you guys in the UK, you won't be able to get there unless you fly over there. So yeah, I won't do much else. I will let Zoe introduce herself and kind of go from there, and then we'll shoot into some questions and we'll kind of allow it to just flow from there.
Yeah,
So,
see where it goes. Right.
Yeah.
I don't know how to do these self-introductions. I'm out of practice. You said the main thing. At the moment, I'm Zoe Knight. I am one half. Sometimes I like to think of myself as the better half of Muscle Nerds and Institute of Physical Culture. So that's a bit of a mouthful, that gym name. And when we brought the gym, so Muscle Nerds is an online education company. Our main target or demographic is other personal trainers and coaches or fitness or health professionals. And we teach, since COVID, we moved a lot of our stuff online. So we've got online courses, like our main one is a program design course. So just kind of teaching how to put together a efficient, effective program that makes sense, customized program for your client. And that goes through things like biochem, anatomy, functional and structural assessments and all that sort of stuff. So we've got that's all online. And then we've been doing that since September 2015. So 6 years now. We'll be coming into our 7th year soon. And then we bought the gym, Institute of Physical Culture, in February last year, which was right before COVID shut us down. We bought the gym and then 5 days later went into lockdown. So we're really lucky that we had Muscle Nerds able to float it while we were closed for that extended period of time. But when we went to name the gym, Luke was unwavering in the fact that that's what he wanted to call it. So we've shortened it because it's a big tongue twister to IOPC gym. It kind of like, we toyed up whether we wanted it aligned with the Muscle Nerds, but we didn't. We just thought we'd rebrand it because it's a completely different demographic. Like, it's just very gym pop. It's a 24/7 gym pop gym. So we named it something else. But yeah, other than that, I work in both of those. I mean, they're all under the same umbrella legally as a legal structure, but I work in both of those businesses. I try and keep Luke on track, and I am studying part-time doing my Bachelor of Health Science. I've been doing that since 2017, so 4 years part-time study while juggling all the other stuff. And I have 3 beautiful dogs that will probably make an appearance at some point. But yeah, we're based in Brisbane, and I grew up in New Zealand, Luke grew up in Texas, and we somehow found each other, and here we are.
we won't go into that story because I have heard that story.
Oh, I know, and it's a long story. It is a long story. So yeah, we'll avoid that.
But as any of you know, Muscle Nerds, I'm going to put it here, but instead of Muscle Nerds, it's a course that every trainer should go on. So I've done program design and the foundations.
That's when we used to do the in-person stuff.
In person, when we come over to London, and both of them revolutionized the way I train people.
Oh, cool.
So for me, it was possibly the best investment I've ever made in terms of my coaching, because I noticed with Luke and yourself, it's not just about, okay, here's, again, I'm just going to chuck out something. Here's GBC and go and put it into place. It was kind of like, here's GBC, here's how GBC works. This is why you might implement it here, or here's, and as coaches, we have to know that, because then it allows us to make the best decisions.
Yeah.
And
it was the whole premise, right? When we started Muscle Nerds, we just both said to each other, we'll never do a product or a service that doesn't have an educational aspect behind it. Look, of course I'm biased, and I agree that every coach and trainer should do the course, but it's very much structured. So when we decided we didn't even decide to start Muscle Nerds. We were kind of like thrown into a situation where we were just like, all right, let's take on clients now. And it kind of evolved to what it is today by us just being very reactive to what people wanted from us, because Luke had obviously had a bit of a name for himself in a certain subset of the industry. So we were very lucky in that we were able to ride the reputation from that and grow Muscle Nerds quite easily. I feel guilty almost saying that, but it's how it is. And at that point, so in 2015, a lot of the continuing education that was available was structured around athletic development, like peak performance. You might get one that was for like bodybuilding or like, you know, that extreme level of physique. But there was nothing really that was teaching people how to train their clients, which is gen pop people. So that's where all of our education is focused around educating trainers around how to train a general population person, which is, you know, like a mother of 3 that works 40 hours a week and has marriage trouble, or, you know, or a high level exec, or it's basically someone that doesn't have the time, like fitness isn't their life, you know, like an athlete is, or someone in the industry is. So I do believe that everyone should do our course. And we do try, again, the why is the biggest thing that we teach. So it's just the why behind things. When knowing when not to use certain training methods and give certain nutritional advice or do certain exercises, to me, is just as important as knowing when to. Like, we all know, like the hypertrophy rep range, we all know the strength rep range. I would like to assume that we all know the different types of training methods that you can use to elicit certain results. But then it's like, what instances shouldn't you use them?
Exactly.
Do you know what I mean? Like, when is it going to do more harm than good? And how do you know? Like, how are you going to assess that? Like, what are the things you can do to know what you should or shouldn't do with your client? So thank you for your kind words, but of course I'm going to agree, of course. And it's a hard thing. Like, whenever I make, like, Luke and I are really lucky in the sense that I can sit there and really talk him up. I can say stuff that he would never in a million years say about himself, but obviously I'm very biased. And I always just say that to when I have like talked to people who are inquiring. I was like, of course I'm going to say this, but he's one of the most brilliant minds in the industry. But of course I'm going to say that. But here's a bunch of other people that agree with me.
Here's the testimonials. Here, have a look.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. And, you know, of course, with the Personal Training Institute, we in the UK, we just kind of touch on the first part. So your level 2s, your level 3s coming into the industry. But this is why, if you are a coach or you're someone looking to get into this, go and do more. We're not just about, hey, you done level 2, level 3, well done, woo, sort of thing. But it's how do you apply what you've just learned? Because you know, there's this whole thing that goes around knowledge is power. Well, I partly agree and partly disagree. I always say applied knowledge is power. Because if you learn to apply, well, then you've taken what you've learned and go, sort of thing. But that's the thing. So many trainers get in, they complete a level 2, level 3, get insured, and they're like, well, never need to educate myself again. And it's like, whoa.
Well, I guess when you think about it, it's the same here in Australia. Like, in their mind, they've just been taught all they need to know to be able to do the job that they want to do. You know, they're like, well, now I've just done a course that now I'm allowed to be a personal trainer. Surely that's all I need to know. And it's like, there's a lot more to it than that. But yeah, with the regards to like applied knowledge is power, it's just that saying, like, knowledge is required, like it's necessary, but it's not sufficient. Because if you think about it, we live in a time that we know more than we ever have, yet we're the most unhealthiest we've ever been in the first world country, at least in regards to that. So there's a lot more that needs to be considered. Like, I'm starting to move more towards people's like behaviors and psych about it all, because that seems to be where everything stems from. But that's a whole other kettle of fish as well. And that, you know, we don't have a team that's, you know, qualified to even touch that aspect of it. Because you start messing with that stuff, it's more danger than good. Especially, like, I've seen so many people who have had troubling times with their mental health, gone to seek out a psychologist or a counselor, and it's been a shit one who has fucked them up more than they were at the start. So it's, I don't know, the more you know, the more you realize that there is to it, right? And it just becomes overwhelming. But yeah, we really try and teach the why behind things and create critical thinking coaches and the application of the knowledge. So I don't know if you've done our new online nutrition course.
I haven't done it yet. I wanted to get onto it, then COVID hit, and then everything hit with,
God, I know.
with what happened with who I was working for.
Yeah.
Long story, I'm not going to go into, but
that's all right. But what we did with our nutrition course is in every single module, at the end of the module, there's 2 quizzes. One quiz tests your attention. So how much have you remembered of what was just taught? And then one quiz tests your application of that knowledge. Because as even being at school myself, one of the biggest things that I've kind of picked up, it's like you just study to memorize to pass the test. You're not learning the information in a way that you learn to apply it. That was a really poorly worded sentence. But they're not testing you on your application of it. I mean, there are instances where you do put together a case study and recommend a treatment plan and why and all that sort of stuff. But I do feel like, especially the science subjects, the biochem subjects and all that sort of stuff, they're literally just testing your memory. And it's like, this is bullshit, because when I'm out in the world, like I should just need to know what I should learn is where to find the information. Yes, I've learned it, but where do I find it? And then as long as I've got the brains on how to apply it safely. So we're trying to do that. We did that with our nutrition course. We'll be releasing a hypertension course, hopefully. I don't think it's going to be by the end of the year. It's honestly, we started it, or Luke started it.
Bigger and bigger.
It's way bigger than we initially thought. But also the amount of research and literature there is on it is just a very time consuming job to go through, because obviously we want to make sure that everything is 100% sound and up to date in the most recent information. So yeah, it's being a lot bigger than we thought, but we'll do that. Hopefully they'll be released February, I'm hoping. We've got scheduled for filming it on the start mid-January. So yeah, hopefully by February, but we'll see. But we'll do the same thing with that. It's like, yeah, let's test your attention, but also let's test your application, like some more case study, what if scenarios. And that's how you pass the program design course is we've got a case study document, and you just have to show us that you can write programs and you can justify what you're doing with sound logic. So the why and just being a bit smarter than just book smart is important.
Exactly. And going back to hypertension course, I know it's not out yet, but any trainer get onto it, because you will not, especially if you're training Gen Pop, which majority of the people are going to be listening to this, you're going to be training Gen Pop.
Even like fucking everybody, especially strength athletes, especially bodybuilders. Any meathead. And that's why we released it, because it's obviously something that we teach. So we've got a health first approach of everything we do anyway. So it's like, get yourself healthy. So we've got the least mode to beast mode. The least mode is the phase where you just kind of get all your markers right. Then you can drop the hammer into the beast mode stuff. And we've got the prepping to prep theory as well. So like, let's get you healthy before you drop the hammer again. So we've got a very, very much health first approach. And one of the biggest things that you see is your high blood pressure. And the good thing about training and nutrition, and why you can, say, don't touch on anything medical, it's just a byproduct of exercising and training. And it's like, there are certain training methods and certain recommendations that you can make to your client that will lower their blood pressure. And I cannot tell you how many people we have had, or Luke has had specifically, message him and say, if I hadn't learned this stuff, like my client would have died. So we have had someone in the past who took the client's blood pressure, and the diastolic was like disgustingly high, which is really dangerous. So the guy was like, he knew because of the course. He's like, you have to go to the doctor. Went to the doctor, and I think like 98% of his arteries were blocked or something stupid, and he was so close to having a heart attack. We've had the same thing happen so many times. It is insane, the amount of, scenarios. And we should put maybe that they can be all our testimonials for the hypertension course. I also keep referring to it as the hypertrophy course. So if I say that and don't realize, I say to Luke all the time, all right, so we'll get together on Wednesday and talk about the hypertrophy course. And he's always like, what hypertrophy course?
What hypertrophy?
And I was like, damn it, hypertension, the hypertension course. I'm always getting it wrong. So yeah, if I say that, just know that I mean hypertension.
Well, you could say that hypertension causes hypertrophy of something.
Yeah.
The
chamber. Yeah, no. But yeah, so it's gonna be a really good course. Like, and do you know what? Like, even in the research leading into it, the information that Luke's learnt that he didn't realize, there's been a few things that he's like, wow, I did not know that this, that this drastically lowered blood pressure and stuff. So it's going to be really cool. I'm excited for it to come out, and I think it's super valuable, because if you don't have high blood pressure, you'll know someone that does.
Oh, for definite. So many. I know when I first started, you take it because you do inductions and that, and then I'm not gonna sit here and say I'm perfect. As I started as a trainer, you start to, depending on routes that you want to go down, you start only focusing on the transformational, only doing this and you do, and it's not,
100%.
It's by accident, you don't do, but you end up wavering away from those things. Yeah. And then you go and do a course from Muscle Nerds, you go do the hypertension one that comes out, or program design, or the nutritional foundations and stuff like that, and you relearn, actually, that tells me a lot of things that are going on.
And I think that's another thing. It's like, a lot of the stuff that we teach, people have learned in the past, but again, they just haven't learned what to do with that information. So, we have a lot of people that have done the Bachelor of Health Science, or, their exercise science or whatever. And they're like, I remember learning like this Krebs cycle stuff in at uni, and then it's just like you learn it again just to pass the test, and you have no idea how that information can be applied as a personal trainer, and how you can use it to know where someone's stress levels are, or to know what kind of training methods you should do or not do. So it's I like what we do. I like what we do, and it's slowly, like, I feel like there's more and more kind of educators that are starting to come out to talking about training Gen Pop, which is good, because no one was doing that at the start. No one was talking about stress. That's literally probably our main message behind all of our education is stress physiology. How stress alters how your body responds to training and nutrition, and how you can, again, pick it up, manage, like pick up what's happening, assess what's happening, manage it, monitor it, and then improve it.
Yeah. So
not to
funnily enough, guys, we haven't actually got into any of the questions we already set out.
Shoot.
So we're going to get into them, but that is kind of like a very brief of why you should go and do any Muscle Nerds course.
I've also done probably such a shit explanation compared to like Luke. Like, what Luke's like as an educator. He's so entertaining. He's so charismatic. He's so like relatable, but also unrelatable. He's like an anomaly, like a meathead nerd.
You have never done a seminar like it, I can assure you.
I don't think there's any educators that have the combination that he's got of just brassness, crudeness, humor. He's just so entertaining, but also phenomenally intelligent.
Insanely intelligent.
You usually get those people that are that smart, but they're just fucking boring.
Oh God, yeah.
But I guess also because he's had his skin in the game since he was 8 years old, like, right, he's been weight training, he's 43 now. So he's just that perfect balance of, he's got the experience, he's got that what's the word I'm looking for, anecdotal evidence, and experience, as well as just knowing the science and the research off like the back of his fucking hand. So anyway, I'll stop banging on about him.
when we get him on one day,
he better say good shit about me.
He will.
Edit it out. If not, if he doesn't, you're gonna come back. You're gonna take this, you're gonna chop all those bits out, and you're gonna re-release it without
edit.
words.
I'll put this part was taken out.
Yeah.
So we'll get into some of the questions. So
yes,
of course, majority of the trainers that are going to be listening to this are either new to the industry, just kind of past their qualifications, maybe in their first job sort of thing, or they haven't taken their qualification yet, and that is why they've come to the Personal Training Institute.
Yep.
Being an owner of a gym, so the Institute of Physical Culture, what would you say as a new trainer, that trainer should be doing to kind of stand out from, say, the rest that are maybe coming through, or maybe trainers who are actually a little bit more further along in their journey?
Off the top of my head, my first thought is I have a work ethic. I think look, I don't know, I'm going to make a ton of assumptions, so nobody attack me on this, but I do have a belief that I think social media has portrayed the industry as being easy, being, I don't know, it's quite self-centered, in my opinion, and it's very image driven, which I understand. While I understand how it's got into all of the points that it's got into, and I think that there is this big display on social media of people in the fitness industry, fitness models, and I'm just going to call them fitness models because I think that's essentially what a lot of them are, or influencers. I mean, they're probably not even, that even might be too generous. Influencers, they have this luxurious lifestyle by doing bare minimum. And I don't think there's any onus on them to do better or be better because they're writing solely off the focus of what they look like. And they're great at fucking marketing, like, and self-proclamations. Like, honestly, like that's what is dominating the industry. Well, look, a subset of the industry, because I do believe, I'm going to go off on another slight tangent. If you ask, what do you think of the industry? It's like, well, which part of the industry? You've got the bodybuilding section, you've got the people like the Gen Pop section, then you've got the people that kind of move in. Like when we was holding seminars back in the pre-COVID world, you'd just see the same people all the time, the same small group of people at continuing education courses, not just ours, but everyone else is in, like, that's kind of in the same caliber as us. You just see the same people all the time. So there's a subset of people that do that. Then there's the movement. Anyway, so I think a work ethic is really important because it's not easy if you want to do it right. And I think being a small business owner and being not a really solid established company, if you got a worker that you hired, I don't know what it's like in other countries, but in Australia, it's a very, 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 like, the employee is protected, like the worker is very protected. It's very hard to get rid of people. If you got the wrong person and they just tried to bleed you dry with doing the bare minimum, that can take your whole business down. It can ruin your whole business. It can ruin your whole reputation. So I think that initial work ethic of just wanting to put that time in to get the experience, learn as much as they can, do as much as they can, just show up and be, I don't know, a hard worker. And I just feel like it's getting harder and harder to find hard workers. We're so lucky. Like, the guys that we have employed for us, we've got the opposite problem where we have to force them to take holidays. But as an employer, I would rather that. And it's such a hard thing to try, and because you can't enforce it. Like, you cannot say to your employee, I want you to do more than what you're being paid to do, or I want you to go above and beyond for your client to do more than what they're expecting. I want you to do more, or be more, or really step up to the plate. Like, the plate's here, like, legally, this is all they have to do. How do you ask them to do more? You can't. You absolutely cannot. You honestly can, and you can't. So you have to find people that are willing to do that on their own accord, because it's who they are. It's, it's like how you do small things is how you do everything. It's just in their nature to be a hard worker and, earn the right to be a phenomenal trainer. Because it's hard work. It's hard work. It's not an easy industry. And you're never going to get, I don't know, if you're chasing fame or like Insta fame, it's, I don't know. So I think initially I would look for a work ethic, hands down, for sure. And then the second thing I would think would just be like, and I don't really know what the kind of right term is, but I guess just to be open-minded and willing to learn. Like, I think if you've got that willingness to learn, because I look, at the end of the day, there's all those personality traits that you need that are going to be default in the person. So that's that work ethic, to be empathetic and relatable, like to not be self-centered, to kind of have like a serving mentality, but not to the point where it's like detrimental to them, I suppose. Because anything educational can be taught. You know, we can teach them anything they need to know about how to be a trainer, but it's those personable qualities that you can't teach people. So I would hire initially solely on culture. And yeah, just the outlook on life. It's got to be positive. It's got to be empathetic. They've got to be just good fucking people. Really. And it
goes a long way.
Like, yeah, absolutely. And that's the thing. It's like, I guess every company is different. I'm not a big fan of the companies that, like, especially the big ones, where they just feel like they've got their employees over a barrel. It's like, you do as they say, this is your job. I do like to reward them as we can and give as much as we can and offer as much as we can and support as much as we can. But at the same breath, Luke and I are not micromanagers at all. No. And the time, like God, I don't even hear from our employees half the time. There'll be months. Like, I think I saw one of our employees, I was like, this is the first time I've seen you in like a year, and he lives 20 minutes away. So definitely, like, we're not micromanagers. And so work, again, that just falls down to like that work ethic. But if you have the outlook that I am part of this team and I'm growing this company with them, not for them, because a lot of employees like, well, I'm doing all this hard work and it's just going in your pocket. Fuck off. I wish it was. I wish it was going in our pocket. So it's like, let's do this together. Let's all grow this together, and we'll all reap the rewards as we grow. So I just think it's a part of a team. It's not us versus them type mentality. Like, well, if I do this for you, what are you going to do for me? Like, none of that. It's kind of like, okay, yeah, let's do this for Muscle Nerds. Like, let's grow this for Muscle Nerds, or the gym, sorry, IOPC. So yeah, I definitely think it's just going to come down to a culture fit, character fit. Again, like I said, the rest can be taught.
That's the thing. Exactly what you said. It's kind of like, there's two things. It's fucking hard, this industry. This industry is not flipping easy.
No.
You are going to have to, you will do long hours. You will do days where you walk around gym floor and you talk to hundreds of people and not a single one does anything. They don't.
There's so many people that won't even do that though. That's the thing. Like, that is the thing. It's like they won't even go and walk the gym floor. They just expect clients to come to them. It's like, nah. Again, we were very lucky that happened for Muscle Nerds. It definitely isn't for the gym, because no gym pop people will have a fucking clue who we are, and we're not branded the same. But we're lucky that we've grown through word of mouth, because we've just
the groundwork was done.
You
know, and that's the thing. Like, you know, some of you might then hear like, oh, Muscle Nerds, kind of what we were saying is kind of, you built quite quickly, but understand there was however many years before that was built.
2 decades. Like, I can't even, and again, that's all off like Muscle Nerds was all built off Luke's back, hands down. But I mean, I can't even begin to explain what it's taken for him to get here. So we've been together almost 7 years. So I can only speak of his habits of the last 7 years, but I dare say it was the same his entire life. Otherwise he wouldn't be anywhere near as smart as he is. But constantly, when he works out, he listens to lectures and podcasts. If we're driving somewhere, I'm always driving. He's in the passenger seat reading research, reading a textbook, you know, he's upskilling, forever buying courses he's just, that is his life. And it has been since, I think he was 14 when the internet came about, and they was like teenage. I think it was like T-Mag, Testosterone Nation, T-Mag, I don't know, whatever it was back then.
One of them.
He told the story better than me. But anyway, way back then it was, and he's just spent every cent. He was broke just spending money on continuing education. Like, he's just got this thirst for knowledge. So so many people, like, I look at him and it's like, I'm never going to be as smart as him. Like, how does he know all this stuff? He knows all this stuff because he's been doing it day in, day out for 20 something years, like longer than that, probably, I don't know, 25
and that's
years,
the thing,
35, I don't know, a long time, a long fucking time. Longer than almost I've been alive. Just kidding. Really long.
but that's the thing, it's kind of, you know, you've got to push for it. And, you know, when you come home, you know, or if you've got an hour available, let's say you're not going to walk the gym floor, jump on the computer, learn.
Oh,
to a course,
upskill,
learn,
absolutely.
read articles. If say you haven't got the money right now and you don't want to start whacking
Oh, there's so much free shit online. Yeah.
So much,
Yeah.
Go
Listen
to
to
any
all those podcasts.
the
I'm
podcast.
gonna stop being on about him now. But a perfect example though is like, so when we did take over the gym, like I said earlier, so we bought it was an already established gym. And when we brought it over, I think it's just a small boutique, it's 24/7 gym. It had 96 members, I think. And then COVID, we had the lockdowns and we got locked down for however many months. And obviously we'd taken over 5 days before. So not one member knew who we were, anything. I just got on the phone. I rang every single member and I was like, what do you want to do with your membership? I wasn't that blind. I was like, what do you want to do with your membership? I was, like, hi, I'm Zoe. We've just recently been the new owners of the gym. Like, how are you first? Like, have you been affected? Are you okay? What do you do for a job? Blah, blah. I just kind of introduced myself. And then I was like, look, I'm just ringing to see what you would like to do with your membership. Like if you did want to hold it, we are happy to borrow some equipment, go pick some equipment up, take it home. We can write some home workouts, whatever. We went down, I guess, because no one had any type of relationship with us. They had no obligation to us. We went down to 23 members. So 23 members decided they would keep paying. And a few of them we wrote some workouts for while they were away. And then the rest were like, that's fine. I'm still working. I don't mind. Like, I still want there to be a gym to come back to type thing. So just 23. So we were at 23 members for a good few months while we were in lockdown. When we took over the gym, first off, it was dirty. Like it was just dusty and dirty. And I was like, let's clean this place. Then they had this cork board in the window of the inside window, and they had left pens and paper there for people to give feedback or ask questions. So members to give feedback or ask questions. The whole thing was filled with questions and recommendations. Majority of it was around music. So what they had done is they were using the internet off the company that was above the gym units, and it was all the kosher, like they knew that, so they didn't have their own internet. So it wasn't strong enough to kind of like run Spotify or anything, so they had this downloaded playlist that would just play on like their iTunes or something like that, like, and it was the most awful music. It was just like screamer, thrasher, like rock, and it was just the weirdest. It was weird. Anyway, so the majority of the questions on the corkboard were like, can we change the music? And because the owner had moved away and it was being run by this chick, and the owner had said, no, you can't change the music. She's like, I'm so sorry, we can't change the music. And then there was like, can we please get a decline bench? And they're like, decline. The responses were like, decline bench cost money, we're not able to. And they were like, can we get like all the, and literally like people, they were asking for recommendations. People were giving recommendations and they were just coming back with excuses why they couldn't. The first thing we did was address every single fucking recommendation that was there. We changed the music, we adjusted the volume, we got a decline bench, we brought our dip set from home because someone's like, do you have any dip bars? I can't remember what the other ones were, but that's it. And it was like, we just listened to people. And I was obviously kind of in a unique situation where I was able to get really honest feedback from them about the gym, and majority of them liked it because it was 24/7. It was not clean, quiet. It was not intimidating. And it like they're the main, and yeah, those are the main reasons. So we're like, okay, well, we're going to keep those qualities because that's why these people come to this gym. So we kept our memberships. So we're like, we won't oversell memberships, so it doesn't get too busy. It stays quiet. It stays non-intimidating. And so doing that, like just listening to people, we got a fruit bowl at the gym where it's like we fill it up once a week. It's free fruit, like take some fruit after your workout. We've got a free lolly jar. We've got this huge book collection. I like books. So I went and brought like when they did like a end of financial year sale, I just bought like 8 boxes of books, like a huge amount of books. And we just filled one of the sections of the gym. So it's like book swap, come borrow a book. So it's just like, we're trying to do things where it's like serves them. And it's very minimal effort on our part to do it. And from that, we've done very little marketing. I think we put one advert in a local magazine. And it's just all being word of mouth. And it's because you're empathetic to people and you care about people and you do the right thing by them and you listen to what they want out of a gym. Yeah. You don't pull that whole like, well, I'm the business, I get to decide. It's like, well, you don't.
Yeah. And that's the thing. Yeah. And like I said, one of the biggest things is listen. Listen and care. Yeah. Listen to what they're saying.
And genuinely care. Yeah. Don't just pretend to care. It's like, oh yeah, I know. I'm sorry. The music is awful, isn't it? Like I do sympathy. Well, do something about it.
Do something about it. Exactly. Actions speak louder than words it goes back.
100%.
And that's exactly what you're saying, is just be a good fucking human. Just 100%. Be a nice person.
It goes so far. And I know what, like there's times when Luke has said to me, he's like, you make a terrible business person, because I'm very altruistic. Like I'm almost too with that sort of stuff. But in the long run, it's always served us. They've either always come back, or they've always referred, or they've like, there is literally not one bad thing. So, you know, we've had a couple of complaints in the past, which we've been very lucky. Over the years, we've had fuck all really. But the ones that we have done, it's like, all right, well, we'll give you a refund. Like, because now you can't turn around and be like, they took my money and they were shit, and they're like, I was like, well, no, we didn't, like, because that's not what we're about. They got the service, but you know, I don't want anybody that's listening that's one of our clients to now complain and ask for a refund. But yeah, there's just so many things where it's like, yes, this, oh my god, perfect example, when COVID hit. And we had no idea, like no one knew where it was going, what was going to do. Our businesses were shut down, everyone's businesses were shut down, and people just got like scared mode and just turned to pieces of shit, a lot of them. I'm going to tell you a story. I've telling so many stories, but this is really good. We had, you know, like providers that were like inflexible, demanding payments due, and you're like, I'm going to remember this. Like, I'm going to remember that you were just a dick in this instance. So we brought the gym. We'd brought the gym, like I said, 5 days. We had it 5 days before it closed down. Within those 5 days, we contacted a painter because we wanted to get it painted, because it was this kind of awful, like play school blue color, like, you know, like it was just, I don't know, it was not a nice blue color. Nice. So we're like, we're just gonna paint the gym. So he'd come out, viewed it, seen what we wanted, and then gotten back to us with a quote. And then the gym was shut down. The day after that it got announced, I had a missed call from the painter, and this is when I was busy calling all of the members. So I was like, shit, I need to call him and let him know that we can't go ahead with this now. Next day had another missed call, and I was like, fuck, I really better give him a call back. Called him back, and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry. Like, I've just been really busy contacting like all the members. I'm so sorry, but we're just not going to be able to go ahead with this quote. And he goes, well, that's actually what I was calling you about. He goes, we want to paint your gym for free. And I was like, are you fucking serious? I literally burst into tears because I'd been so like tired and stressed, and I had we'd just brought this gym that we'd now lost all our members. I just burst into tears, and I was like, honestly, like, absolutely not. And I said, I can't, there's no way. And then he was like, no, please, honestly, he goes, I feel so bad for you guys in your situation. And he said, we typically do this like once or twice a year. Someone will come across someone who's like really deserving and all sorts of stuff. And I was just like, I'll only let this happen if you let us like pay you once we're back up and running type thing. He's like, no. So he ended up then he called me back, and I was like, honestly, that would like, thank you so much. And then he called back the next day, and so like, you know, Dulux, I'm sure that's a global thing. Paint Dulux. So they have like these affiliates with painters, where if they're an affiliate of Dulux, they're able to use Dulux branding on their websites and all sorts of stuff. And so he monitored or managed as a what's the word I'm looking for? Like not a donation. If you do work for free, what is the word? You know what I'm trying to say?
I know what you're trying to say.
Anyway. So when you do that, I'm going to listen back to this and be like, Zoe, the word is, it's going to bug me. Anyway, oh my God, that's pissing me off so much. Does it start with S? I don't know. Anyway, so he did this, he did for free. He managed the Dulux affiliation of painters or whatever. So then he contacted Dulux and told them of my story, like our story that we just bought the gym and being shut down. And so then they donated the paint for free. And I was just like, so like, again, being like, karma's only a bitch if you are, right? So just be a good fucking person and it will come back. And look, there are instances it's like bad things happen to good people and then good things happen to bad people. It's not like a hard and fast rule, but I do honestly truly believe that like what you put out, it comes back. And we've had some stuff similar happen very recently as well, where I just said to Luke, like, we had 3 things happen in a week that I was just like, what the fuck is going on? And I was like, this just confirms to me that this, like, being a good person, it like
it happens sooner or later.
And that sounds so selfish. It's like, I'm a good person, so I get so good stuff to happen to me. But no, just do it unselfishly. I mean, you could have people that argue that it's not such a thing, but whatever.
See, I'm a big believer in it as well. Is, you know, you do the right thing. It might not happen there and then, but it comes back, you know, a week or months or years down the line. It does come back, and you can look back and go, well, I did that, and it has come around somehow or other.
Yeah.
Like, but yeah, you know, it's important, you know, just be a good person, just be you know, care, give a crap about what you do. And, you know, that will also go back to what you're saying.
Have some integrity, have some, there's so many, but it all kind of goes down to the one thing. Just be good.
And, you know, the big thing that we're seeing now is, and again, it's not wrong, it's not right, it's just kind of what we see is so many people coming into the industry, get the qualification, and they jump straight into PT.
Yeah.
I have viewpoints of, and I want to see what your viewpoints are. So it's kind of like, there's no right or wrong, but it's kind of like, I don't know. I know when I first come into the industry, it was, you do a fitness instructor, you learn the ropes, you do an induction, you learn everything, and then you go and be a PT. And that's a great way of building PT. But now it's just literally qualification, go be a PT, self-employed. And then
that's the scary thing, is there really isn't a mentorship program that goes into it. I do know that some Cert 3 and 4 requirements here in Australia, because I believe like the different colleges or institutes that give you Cert 3 and 4 in fitness here, there's the core subjects that have to be covered regardless, and then they can select their electives, and then so it's kind of like slightly varying amongst them, but the core stuff is the same. And I do know that some of them require you to do, you know, 30, 50, 100, 200 hours of prac before you can actually become certified. Look, I did that. Well, no, I didn't. How I got into it, I was doing like boot camps is how I got into fitness, like the outdoor boot camp type stuff. And I was going to one called Boot Camps Australia. It was like a chain, and they were independently owned. Anyway, I was going to that, and then I went to a boxing class one morning at a boxing gym, and the owner, the guy who normally took it, was away, and the owner took it, and he was awesome, like very quite. He was the kind of person that you wanted to train hard for. Like, you weren't being forced to, you're just like, I don't know what it was about him, but he was also really positive. Like, I respond very well to that positive reinforcement or that encouragement, as opposed to like that drill sergeant like type stuff. I remember going home, it was a Saturday morning. I remember going home that Saturday morning, and I was in the shower, and I was like, I want to be like him. And I got out of the shower, and I sent off inquiries to a couple of different fitness colleges. I got an email back on Monday, and from both of them, and I booked in a meeting on Tuesday with one of them, and an interview with one on the Wednesday. I went with the one on the Wednesday, and Thursday. So that Wednesday, I had a meeting with one of them. I got accepted. They asked me, why are you wanting to get into the fitness industry? Like, why now or whatever. And I told them my story, and I said, you know, I've been going to these boot camps for so long, and, you know, blah, blah, blah. And then I went to this boxing class and all sorts of stuff. And so they then contacted the person that I was speaking about, and they said, we just want to let you know that this is the impact that you've had on this girl. She's wanting to do, you know, she's doing this because of you. They then called me and were like, hey, and this is on the Thursday. So the Saturday I decided, this is on Thursday. They then called me and they said, hey, we've just found out that you're doing your Cert 3 and 4. And I was like, yeah, I am, like, confused at how that heard, because it hadn't even been 24 hours. And then they said, cool, because we're ringing to offer you a job.
Oh, wow.
Like, what? So I started shadowing, and then I would slowly take over. So I did that as I was studying my Cert 3 and 4. So I was very, very lucky, and that's not normal, but I honestly feel like it should be. But even knowing what I know now, if I could contact all my past clients and give them a refund, like, I would. Like, if I went on, that's what I would do. I would. But I also feel like you are inevitably going to go through a period where you aren't very good. Or you are giving shit advice, or you are writing crap programs, and like, you have to start somewhere. We've had people sign up to a program design course that are like, I'm not a PT yet, but I'm going to be, and they're like, I just want to get this done. And I was like, good on you. But then there's a point where you can get caught up in the education. It's like finding a really good balance. you can really get caught up in that education. But I honestly wouldn't say that I've got a lot of experience with as a coach, because that happened. And then it was not long after that, maybe like 2 years, I had never made the move into full-time PT. So when I was doing that, I was working 8 till 5 at a recruitment company. I was studying my Cert 3 and 4, and I was like doing my work experience. And then I started eventually training people from before my 8. So my first client would be like at 5 or 5:30. I'd train people before work. I'd go into my full-time job, then I'd go back and I'd train people till about 7:38, then I'd train myself, then I'd go home. So I did that for almost 2 years, those two to three things. And I am very inquisitive in nature. So I was like, there's more to it than this. There's more to it than just this shitty training that we're doing. Well, I didn't really consider it shitty at the time, but I was like, there's more to this. Like, people's results are more than just what they're doing here. So that's how I came across BioSig.
Yeah.
So which is the Poliquin course that I went to that Luke was teaching. That's how I met Luke. But so when I met Luke, obviously that was a whirlwind. And then within months, I had quit my job, sold my car, and gone over to America. So I've only really had 2 years of experience coaching, and not even full time. Because then when we started Muscle Nerds, I did and I still do all the back end stuff, because that's Luke's domain. Like, he trains the people. Since going back at the gym, I don't have any clients, but I take some of our small group training. Like, I think about 7 sessions a week. I take classes, but they're written by Luke. So I don't really consider myself, but still, I mean, like, I've got a lot of knowledge. I just don't have the experience. I don't have that, like, the gym floor experience that you get. But like, again, like, it's kind of like, if you don't start when you're just out, when do you start?
Well, exactly.
But I think, I mean, I would say I would highly recommend finding a mentor, but then there's like the financial burden of that. Not everyone can afford it, because it takes a while to build up money. It's such a catch-22.
It's such a balance, isn't it?
And it's finding that really good balance. And like you said, though, if you can't afford it, there's so much free resources, so many free resources. Like I said, even podcasts are fantastic. They're all free. But yeah, I don't know. Or even just attach yourself, depending on the thing I don't like is that you come out of the gym and you come out of your qualification, and the main model is that you work for yourself. And you just sprint base. That is a very one-man band, where I do think, and even then you've got the competition amongst the trainers in the gym, depending on what the setup is, which makes it very, very difficult to then find it and a more experienced trainer that's willing to mentor you, because it's like, well, no, because I don't want you to have, I want the clients. I want to be the fucking king on the gym floor. I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. It's such a fine balance. I mean, I'm sure it's going to be so situational, dependent on the person. So I don't think there's like one recommendation on how it should be done, but I do think dive into your experience. But I guess the biggest thing is having the awareness that the influence that you have over your client and their health is exponential. Because I think that's why most people just dive into it and they write the same program. Like, I mean, we were in a gym once. I can't remember where we were, maybe Perth. And we were there waiting. Yeah, we were in Perth because we were waiting for someone to finish work. So we were there for quite a while. And the time that we were there, we watched this one trainer take every single client through exactly the same workout, and there were like box jumps and skipping and it's just like, one was this like overweight guy, and then there was this like tiny little Asian lady, and then there was there was just so I don't know, I think having the awareness that there is so much more to learn, but not letting that stop you, just being I don't know, more cautious. But then I don't know. It's a hard one, because like I said, you can make an argument either way. I think if you align with some type of mentor, but then finding a good one of them is hard too.
Very hard. You have to be picky in a way with who.
But you wouldn't know how to be picky, because you wouldn't know what's legit or not.
And I think that's actually, again, okay, I'm putting a bit of pressure on myself, but that's up to the people who are qualifying and going, look, okay, you don't necessarily have to fall into my path and who I've gone and learned from, but here is a list of names that I believe will do very well and teach you the right things and will make you into a better coach.
I've just written on my notepad, start a mentoring program. So I wonder if like even all of our students, it's like, hey, who wants to partake? You just find a new PT to mentor this year.
Yeah. And I think, you know, is
highlight
that. getting into that position to where, you know, just be open. Like, and if that means, you know, you do go into it and you're kind of like, just dive in. You know, I'm a risk taker. I'm just kind of like, do it. You know, if it goes wrong, it goes wrong. But at least tried. But I'm that sort of person. I am a risk taker. As much as possibly Gemma wants to take my head off at times because of it.
He's the risk taker. I'm absolutely not the risk taker. So I understand.
And Gemma's a risk taker, but at the same time, she's like a little bit more. She'll be like, let's look at it. Where I'm just head dive. Let's just do this. And Gemma kind of goes, well, have you looked at this? Have you looked at that? I'm like, nah, just do it anyway.
Yeah, what can we do to make this more favorable?
and that's the thing. So to kind of start wrapping up in a way, because I don't want to keep you for too long.
I know, sorry.
I don't want to keep you for too long because, of course, you're a lot busier than I am.
I would say.
In terms of where do you feel the fitness industry is going, especially with, I don't really want to touch on the whole what's been going on, but I see it as, in terms for the industry, quite a good thing. I know that's in the way of, it might push people to be a little bit more cautious about their health.
Yeah, right. I see what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, I hope so. I just think the problem is, like, again, I don't want to talk about it. We actually made made our gym a COVID conversation free zone. You're not allowed to talk about it. So I don't want to touch on it, but I hope that's the case. But the problem is, it's not the message that's being sent. It's very much not like, okay, what else can we do to make ourselves a little more resilient? So I think the people that kind of come to that conclusion on their own, absolutely. But the other problem is health means different things to different people. Like, what does health mean to one person, or how you obtain health is completely different. And I don't know, I feel like the industry does a very, very, very poor job at marketing to people that need the industry. I feel like the industry markets to the industry, and I've said it before somewhere, that I consider it like, have you heard of a two-deck?
No.
So it's basically, a two-deck is so someone's like, I've got a deck, and the other one's like, I've got two. Like, they just always have, a two-deck is someone that always has to like try and one up them, right?
Okay,
so it's like, so it's kind of like, you're like, I've got a deck, like, well, I've got two. Like, you don't have two decks, but you're just saying that because you can't be not the best. So I feel like the industry is very much like that, in the sense that a lot of the content that they put out, it portrays them and the industry in a way that is intimidating and unattainable to the people that need to enter it. So, you know, they portray themselves, they're fucking shredded all year round. They never miss a training workout. They train hard all the time. They're probably on fucking gear in the first place. Anyway, I shouldn't say that. But that's like, I mean, a lot of the top ones. And that's very presumptuous. A lot of them aren't as well, like I know. But, and they, you know, they never vary off their diet. If they do, it's like, they have a fucking ice cream made of avocado, like, gross. So there are so many people that they look at that and they're like, I don't want to do that. I can't do that. Like, I don't want to never have the, you know, my favorite stuff. So they don't even try. It's so intimidating, and the marketing needs to change, because all that's doing is making the gap larger between the industry and the people that need it. So I think that needs to be resolved. And look, I say that people are marketing to the industry. We market to the industry, but that's because our demographic is the industry. Like, our gym, we don't do any marketing for our gym. We should. We don't need to. We've sold out of memberships. We've got none more to sell. No more to sell. But I do also think, like, I feel like the industry is now moving towards a very, like, it's very, very technology based and influence. And I feel like it's going to becoming a lot more self-sufficient for people. So a lot of the apps, and they're all apps, like, I mean, it's getting to the point now, like, it's like, you're not going to be able to make it if you don't have your own app, even though all the apps do exactly the same fucking thing. They're just branded differently. Like,
Yeah.
It's
Different
just, I don't know.
brand, different color.
Yeah, they all give a workout with videos. They all allow you to track nutrition. They've all got recipes. It's just different, like they're laid out a bit differently with different colors and in different photos. Like they're all the fucking same. But I do feel like with all of that stuff, like a lot of the influencers that everyone, they're just coming out with their own platform. It's moving people towards more that self-sufficient route. But then in the same breath, I don't think you're ever going to be short of people who are in-person training. The only thing you've got to realize is that it's a real luxury for people. So there's a lot of like, to be able to afford good decent PTs, you know, it's a fair whack of money. And so I do feel like a trainer, if you are a new trainer, you are a trainer, you really have to like spend some time knuckling down and thinking about what it is that you're delivering that is valuable to your client. That, like, yes, an app might replace their workouts, but what are you giving them that an app can't?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Whether it's, I mean, you can argue accountability is one. It's probably a pretty big one for gym pop people. But it's just that personal aspect of personal training, that relationship that's built, that like, there's a lot outside of just, again, having someone there to help guide you. I know, like, you could say an app will do that, but there's no personal aspect to that. So I think it's kind of moving definitely more towards the technology side of things. I think social media is probably doing, look, I don't know, it's got some great it's great, some great quality. It's good and bad, right? Pros and cons with everything. But I don't know, I'm interested to see where it does head. I think
it's interesting, especially like you said, with the technology side of things, but goes back to, what does our name say? Personal trainer. Well, guess what comes first? It doesn't go trainer personal, it goes personal trainer. And that's the thing, right? I know, again, I've done online coaching and I've done in person. And you know, I like both. I personally prefer when, you know, having someone in front of you, because
absolutely,
and then you get to it, you know, but that also means that, you know, again, going off on a little bit of a tangent, but people will sometimes go, well, you're just a personal trainer, you count reps. And
a shitty one does,
Exactly. You come do my job for one day, do 1 hour actually of what I do, and be so dialed in and focused, and then do that for another 12 hours. And let's see how you feel. Because if you're dialed in and focused, it's
draining.
Draining.
It's exhausting, it's draining, absolutely. I've actually got a post like drafted up that I'll hopefully post maybe sometime this week, just outlining that, how, like, because, you know, everyone just wants to be an online trainer and they think it's because it gives you freedom. It doesn't give you freedom. It gives you a little bit of flexibility, but that flexibility is a bad thing if you don't have exceptionally good time management skills. But I do have a post written how I will draft it. I've got to finish it, but how online training is very admin heavy, and it's admin heavy on the coach's part, but also the client's part. Like, they have to take the videos, upload the videos, write their replies, write their, you know, do their check-ins. It's very admin heavy regardless. So it only suits certain types of people. And if done right, it is so much harder than in-person training. So I don't know. I mean, look, hard for different reasons.
Definitely.
In-person training is definitely hard, but in terms of like actually coaching a person, it is a lot more difficult online if you're doing it right. So the people that come up on about, you know, I've online trained thousands of people, it's like, well, you've probably just given them a program and they've fucked off and done it on their own. That's the same as being a coach at all. But anyway,
and that's another thing to go talk about at one point. But, you know, it's interesting. I think the industry is going to go in a great way. I can see that it will start, especially now with companies like Muscle Nerds, M10 Education with Mark Coles.
He's so good. I love his
Mark is brilliant, and you know, he was actually one of the first seminars I ever took.
Me too.
So, you know, Mark Coles, you've got Phil Lerney, you've got a bunch of different people.
I love Phil Lerney too.
Phil as well.
I signed up to his ACA I think the day it was initially released. It's come so far. Like, I think I'm one of the founding members. He's awesome. Phil Lerney is fantastic. I think he doesn't get enough well, not, I shouldn't say that, but I think he should be bigger than what he is.
Yeah.
But I don't think he drive again. I don't think the thing is like when
Not
you're
bad.
really like Luke, like Phil, like I mean Matt does bloody well. They're so focused on just doing their job. Like Phil's just focused on, I don't even know if he coaches, but he's got his academy stuff. He's just focused on that instead of like just trying to be fucking famous. Or trying, you know, so like the good ones. I mean, you've definitely got good ones that are kind of like, big, but it's like, I think Phil should be a lot, like he deserves a lot more people in his, he's already got heaps, but I feel like I'm down to like the saying what he's doing isn't enough, but it's plenty, but he'll be much bigger.
That's the thing. Go like anyone listening, go read his stuff, and you'll see. I think now, especially
join his ACA.
Yeah,
it's very good. Yeah,
because
I would say a good point for when someone's just fresh out. Luke's going to be like, "Why didn't you tell him to join the program design course? Why are you telling him to join Phil's?
Do program design as well."
Program design. They're very complementary with each other. They actually are.
And that's the thing. It's kind of like, you know, I think there's a lot more going towards that now with the trainers that, you know, who are muscle nerds, who are Phil, or whoever they're with, who are, you know, being taught. And that's starting to come to, and I feel as a new trainer, you have access to these people, and, you know, get your bank, get your credit card out and whack it on it. It will pay back. Maybe not straight away, but it will pay
absolutely
back.
will.
It will pay back sooner or later, sort of thing. But
as long as you apply it, like you said, knowledge applied. But anyway, yes, sorry.
That's the thing. But so like I said, I don't want to hold you for too long. So the last little part, as you said, you're massive on books. Is there any recommendation? Again, it doesn't have to be fitness, it can be anything. Any recommendation?
I don't read fitness books. So I'm a very big reader. I have a beautiful book collection. It's like my pride and joy, second to my dogs, which I'm surprised they haven't made an appearance. I'm very sad about that. The reason I read, because obviously I'm studying as well, and I learn a fuck ton from Luke through osmosis, because it's literally all he does. Like I can't overemphasize that enough. And so when I read fiction to wind down at the end of the day and escape. Like that's my stress release. So most of my books that I read are fiction. I audio listen to nonfiction because I did realize that there was like a lot of good books that I was missing out on. But the thing is, at the end of the day, like I'm spent, like I've been studying half the day. I don't want to sit down and like learn more. So I just need that wind down and escape. So I listen to the audiobooks. There's been a few that I've really liked. I mean, like I wouldn't know if they're considered like revolutionary. But there's one from Keith Cunningham called The Road Less Stupid. I really enjoyed that. And as an audiobook, it was fantastic because he's Texan and like Luke's Texan, but Keith's got a really cool Texan drawl. And then at the end of every book, at the end of every chapter, he's like, here it is on a bumper sticker. And he'll like give like a real short summary. But he's also big on like this thing called thinking time. So he goes through the chapter, you read the chapter or you listen to the chapter. And then he's got thinking time. He's got a list of questions for you to think about. And I loved that because I was like, oh yeah, I'm thinking about things in a way, or things I never thought I considered to think about, and in a way that I had never thought about them. And I found that very valuable. But I think the book that has made the biggest impact, and look, it's because I implemented it. So look, it comes, you can listen to any book. If you don't do anything with the information, it doesn't fucking mean shit. The book that I implemented was Profit First.
Okay.
And it's basically just for our finances. So not even really exciting, but financial literacy is pretty important when you run your own business, which most people do. And unfortunately, we don't really learn that anywhere unless we choose to. But the concept being, like, normally you'd say that your revenue minus your expenses equals your profit. But they flip that around and they say your revenue minus your profit should be your expenses. So like always put. So ever since that, I've literally, and I think I started it like the end of last financial year, was every week, whatever we had come in, I put aside 10%. And then the rest was what I had to run the business off. And if I wasn't able to run the business off the remaining 90%, I needed to cut expenses down. And then every quarter, every 3 months, I increased what I put aside by 1%. So like I think I'm up to like 12% a week that I just put away. And so I just think like that, and just the thinking of how to do that. That book probably is the one that's given me the most But otherwise I got really hooked into true crime there for a while, and that fucked me up. Luke was in Netherlands once, and I was reading a book there. Because I read before bed, and I couldn't sleep. I honestly, I would put I reversed the car into the driveway. I had the keys by the bed. I slept with a knife by the bed. I made sure all the doors were locked. I had a plan of attack to get the dogs out of the house if someone came in. And Luke's like, you've got to stop doing this to yourself. And then he's like, at least while I'm away, you cannot read these books while I'm away. So I had to start reading in the morning. But I don't know. There's lots of books, and I kind of now and again, just because I said I'm so full on during the day, now and again, I will pick a trashy rom-com just because it's easy, it's mindless, it's entertaining, and then I'm like, okay, that's good. So I would hesitate to recommend a lot of the fiction books that I read, but there has been some really, really good ones in the past for sure. But I'm like, this is such a good book.
But and that's the thing, to kind of draw it to a close. Books, Xbox, whatever it is, and I know Luke and Muscle Nerds talk heavily on hobby. Hobby.
So important.
Yeah, and it gets spoke about quite heavily in the calls with Muscle Nerds and stuff like that. Because again, when you get programs on, you get calls, and those calls are extraordinary. Trust me. And
again, I would say that.
I'm meant to sell the personal training institute. I just keep on selling,
It's right. I was pitching Phil Learning before. It's fine.
we just go around in a circle.
Yeah, and then eventually it'll come back, and Phil will pitch you, so you're good.
One day. We're not there yet. We're not there yet. Maybe one day later. But yeah, it's get a hobby. It doesn't have to be reading. It doesn't have to be a book. Again, the only reason I asked about book is because I know you're very interested in books. And and I would actually say the one that you were talking about, is it Profit and what was it?
Profit First.
Profit First.
Profit First. And then the other one was from Keith Cunningham, and it's The Road Less Stupid. And essentially the premise is if you were to go back and take away the mistakes that you've made, you'd be so much better off. So it's basically it's not how to make better decisions, it's how to make less stupid decisions.
Yes. And, we'll pop them into links again.
Cool.
We don't get any discounts or anything for it. But it's very important, especially that Profit First one, is you have to know that stuff as a trainer.
Yeah.
You're a business. As soon as you enter this industry, you're a business. Whether you're getting paid by a gym or not,
and that's a whole new skill set as outside of being a trainer. It is not the same. If you're a good trainer, that does not mean you'll be a good business person. It is a completely different skill set that you need to learn. And we just kind of fumbled our way through it, and we still are.
But that's the thing. I think with business, it's definitely something you can learn.
Yeah, it's expensive.
It's expensive.
Look, learning
it's an expensive learning curve. If you're willing to take it.
Road Less Stupid, it might save you a bit of money.
Yeah. So but in terms of how can people follow either yourself or Muscle Nerds, you can choose which one.
No, Muscle Nerds will likely be the better one. All I do on my own social media is I just put my meals and my dogs, so it's very boring. I don't know why anybody follows me. But Muscle Nerds on Instagram is Muscle Nerds _health. We did used to have Muscle Nerds, but we got locked out and couldn't figure out how to get back in, so don't follow that. It's Muscle Nerds _health. I try and be fairly consistent with marketing, putting posts up, just because we fucking have to. It's my bane of my existence. On social media, on Facebook, we just Muscle Nerds, and then our website is musclenerds.net. That's it. There's actually a really good page on our website with all the podcast links that either myself or Luke have been on. Mainly Luke, he's been a lot. So there's a bunch of links there for Luke's podcast if you want to go and listen to them, because I've spoken so highly of him. People are like, who is this Luke guy and how great can he be? Go and see this for myself. The
daddy, as he likes to be called.
Oh, don't! I hate that.
You knew it was coming sooner or later.
So there's the Muscle Nerds website, www.musclenerds.net. And then Instagram is where we're most active. Really, we kind of don't really do a lot on Facebook so much, but anyone that's listening, go follow,
Go start to read the posts, go listen to the podcast.
Yeah, read the posts.
Like,
they're not very good. Like, we don't use image to sell, so they're not very like appealing, but the content is good.
The caption, as they say,
yeah.
the caption is very, very, very informative. So again, go look at that, go look at the podcasts. Trust me, you will learn a hell of a lot just listening and reading those, if I'm honest. And then take the jump, go do program design, go do the nutrition, do the high potential when it comes out. Trust me, well worth it. I'm going to jump onto the nutrition very, very soon.
You get a discount.
Yeah.
We only ever give discount. I don't know if we've never said this before, but I don't know if anyone's noticed, we only ever give discounts to our program design students.
No.
We never do sales, we never do discounts, we never do package deals. It's if you're in the program design, we will look after you and we will you've got discounts on training services, on any future course we give out. But we won't get them to get new clients, because it's like, you've got to make an effort first and invest in us before we give you anything.
That's totally
once you're in program design, so you got a discount for the nutrition course, and you'll get one for the high potential course too. So
there we go. So again, anyone that's listening, go follow the pages, and we will wrap it up there. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And again, listen in for another podcast very soon. And we'll go, I don't know how to end these things, if I'm honest. I'll just fucking talk shit, really.
And
cut.
Chop.